Welcome to the Greater Pensacola Chamber Toddcast, sponsored by Moorhead Real Estate Law Group. On the Toddcast, Chamber President Todd Thompson talks to the leaders that are making a difference and driving the conversations that will impact our community. Now here's the Chamber President, Todd Thompson.
Welcome back to the Greater Pensacola Toddcast. I'm Todd Thompson, President and CEO of the Greater Pensacola Chamber of Commerce. And the Toddcast is brought to us by Moorhead Real Estate Law Group. If you have any real estate needs, need to talk to a lawyer, they're great people to talk to. Moorhead Real Estate Law Group. So today on the Toddcast, we're going to learn about what's happening at Pensacola International Airport. Here with Matt Coughlin, Director of the airport. Matt, welcome to the Toddcast.
Thanks, Todd. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. I know it's been a crazy year. We were just kind of talking about it as we got set up here. First, tell us a little bit about yourself. You have a background in flying things even before you got to the airport here.
I do. You know, I grew up a kid from New England and went to college in New England, and I was in engineering school up there and kind of had a job lined up, and I decided to completely change my track and join the military.
Right.
And joined the Navy and ended up here. My first stop was Pensacola, and I always remember it back in 1988, 89. I loved it here, and did a 28-year career in the Navy, and I finished up here as commander up at White Field, and it was great to come back full circle. And me and the family and my wife said this is where we want to be. And so we stayed in the area. It's afforded me a lot of opportunity, and I'm glad to be here and be part of this great community.
Right. So working, being here at the airport is sort of a natural fit for you.
It is. And my last job in the military, I kind of did the same thing. We had several airports as part of the Whiting complex, both here in Florida and Alabama. So we had a lot of airports that we were dealing with. So I had the opportunity to come work for the city, and I started here at the airport several years ago as an operations officer and worked my way up, and I had a lot of great mentors along the way, and it's been truly a blessing, and it's just such a great community, great airport, and I'm just glad to be part of it.
So let's jump right into it. The big question on a lot of people's minds, how are y'all dealing with COVID? Obviously, you've had to make a lot of changes and adjustments. Kind of give us the rundown on that.
Just like anywhere, our main goal for anyone coming through the airport here is to keep them safe. And part of that is keep them healthy, and we do our part in ensuring that. You'll see out in town, everyone's used to the social distance and all that. We do try to do the extra here. For instance, everything from the hand sanitizer we use is not your typical hand sanitizer you would buy out in public. It's an 8-hour preventative measure that you can use here. We have stations everywhere. It's meant to keep you safe for your whole trip, not just the time you're here in the airport. That product happens to be used by a lot of professional sports teams to help them. We found it and we use it. We do a lot of what we call electrostatic spray, and we do a lot of enhanced cleaning here. We increased our janitorial budget quite drastically just to take care of the new threats we face from COVID. So while you're here at the airport, we try to keep you safe and get you on your way, on your journey, and so you can travel. I mean, the travel industry has taken quite a big hit, obviously, and we've been fortunate there too. But just coming to the airport, you'll probably see less numbers than years in the past. But
right.
Our goal is to keep you safe and ensure you have a safe journey.
Right. So you mentioned there are fewer numbers, but there are still people flying.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was a lot lower when we first started, but the numbers have done a little bit better.
Yeah. So back in March, April, the bottom fell out for the entire industry, both internationally and domestically. We were down just like the domestic market, about 90 to 92%. It was pretty drastic. Then it slowly came back. The industry as a whole has climbed back. Today I was just looking at the numbers for enplanements. Those are people who get on airplanes. And the whole industry domestically here in the United States was down almost 70% today.
Wow.
However, we've done really well here, and that's relatively speaking. Around the holiday season, we were only down 20% from about a year ago. And you have to consider a year ago or 2 years ago, we were growing at about 16% a year. Right. So we were growing leaps and bounds. So to get almost back to that level is really a good thing for us. Currently, with the increase in COVID numbers since the holiday season, we're finding ourselves down about 40% from a year ago. But again, the industry's down 70% in enplanements. So we've been very fortunate here locally. Our marketplace here is a little bit more diverse. That's a good thing. So, roughly just over 40% of our traveler is a business traveler, another 40% is leisure type traveler, and the rest are your military type travelers. So we have a diverse marketplace. That's a good thing. Mm-hmm. Business is obviously taken a hit, so we've lost a lot of those travelers. But from a leisure standpoint, personal travel, that's helped us out a lot, and it's helped us keep us pretty stable. So we're doing pretty good. I'm very happy with where we're at, and we are going to come back, right. And I look forward to those days.
Yes, absolutely. So, you mentioned that there's not as many people in the airport, but if you haven't flown in the past year and you're going to be taking a trip somewhere, as a traveler, should you expect anything different coming to the airport now? Should you come in earlier, or just any differences that a traveler would expect?
So in general, in years past, they've kind of put out 2 hours as a good right. time frame. I still subscribe to that. There have been times here since the onset of COVID where there are lines, particularly around the holiday period. Around this time right now, we rarely have many lines at all, so it's pretty easy in and out. But you can't go wrong with 2 hours. Yeah. You just can't go wrong. So, especially on the weekends, and we have a great partnership with TSA here. They're really good at what they do. Right. And they get people through pretty quick. I've seen some very long lines here during the holidays, but yet when I say long, max 15, 20 minutes. Right. And so they've been real good at what they do. We've also been able, one of the projects we had here prior to COVID is to install another security lane. If you go down where TSA is, we have an added screening lane. Okay. For greater throughput, and that's helped too. And they've been able to step up and give us the manpower we need to man that, should that be the case. And so the flow through is really efficient.
So you have markers where people should stand to make sure they're distanced, and
we have all those markers, social distancing. Obviously, with the new federal guidelines with regard to mask, we were already complying with the mask rule with the city ordinance. So we haven't had any issues with the public at all. We've been very fortunate. So, the folks that come through here are wonderful, and we just haven't had any issues.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Just again, there's so much that's unknown. To know that things are flowing smoothly here, and that people can expect not much of a change from what they would typically experience. That's good to know.
And one of the biggest constraints pre-COVID was, I would drive in the airport every day, and first thing I look at is the parking lots.
Well, that kind of leads me to my next question.
Sure.
There were some plans, there was discussion, and parking was a huge issue. Obviously, those are put on hold, but looking, down the road a little bit, are you still looking at, once things are returning, those types of projects?
Exactly. So I guess if there's a silver lining in this, it gives us time space for planning purposes. And we were a little bit behind the power curve with regard to parking. We've been able to reacquire some land out in front of the airport on 12th for that purpose.
Okay.
So when the time comes, we have that option to add even more parking.
Okay.
And so we're going to see how business goes over the next year or so, and we can turn that on relatively quickly if we need to.
Right. And even though things have been slower, y'all are still adding flights. You were mentioning a few.
We are. We've been blessed here. When the market took a downturn, we went from, I want to say, about 24 nonstop destinations down to about 7. We're back up to about 22. We've had some recent adds. We have a new airline that just came on board, Boutique Air, which is a small commuter airline, but nonetheless adds service here. Also, Southwest just recently has added service to nonstop to Chicago, St. Louis, and Atlanta, which is a new one I didn't expect to see. So it's good to have them on board. United's added some nonstops, in particular Denver, which we also already service with Frontier. And they also added nonstop, just more choices to Washington, D.C., Dulles. So it's coming back, and those destinations are just an added benefit for our customers that come through.
Right. And I mean, I know you're always looking for those opportunities, whether it's different times of the day. If you're going to, if you have a flight to a certain market, trying to get better times, or trying to find markets that may not have a direct flight.
Sure, it just gives you more options, and that's important for the travelers.
Right. So anything new? We have ST Engineering out here with the big project. They're continuing to do construction. What's sort of the latest with them?
So the good thing with a lot of the projects around the airport is we've been able to continue them. If you were to look out the window here right now, we're building a new, what we call our Remain Overnight ramp just behind us here.
Right.
That used to be all our helicopter parking. That's since been moved to the other side of the airfield. And what we're doing here is expanding for, the airlines that come in. If they have overnight aircraft, we can park them over there. So we're expanding the size of the ramp. That gives us revenue. That's a good thing. That project should be done here I would say in the next 5 to 6 months. We have another project, Customs and Border Patrol, that is still going. That should be done within the year, and that'll give us the ability to, on the general aviation side of the house, to bring in even more international travelers. So those are ongoing. Those never stopped or anything like that. For ST, we're in the design phase, so to build out that MRO campus, we obviously already have one hangar built, and they're manning that up with employees. You'll see a lot of UPS aircraft over there, so they're up and operational there. The goal is we'll be starting, the design is already started for the second hangar, and we are marching towards a 95% design on that currently. We're almost there. By the end of February, we should be at 95% for that second hangar. That will double the footprint, the current footprint.
Right.
Once that's done and we go down the road and they meet the price requirements of making that happen, then we're going to move on to the design of hangars 3 and 4, and that will be on the northwest side of the airfield in our Commerce Park. So we're going to take that footprint, double it again. The total, when it's complete, will be about 775,000 square feet under roof.
Wow.
They're going to go from about 400 jobs to 1,725 jobs, and I'll let the economic development experts speak to that, but it's obviously a good opportunity. It's a good opportunity for the airport. It helps the airport because we get revenue just from the rent from it.
Okay.
And so in the long term, we're going to be getting rent for all those facilities. It stays here at the airport and helps us to to keep the airport up and develop further. So it's a great opportunity. It's moving forward. COVID does have a vote in it. There's some enabling projects we have to get done with the FAA. They have to move some electronic stuff around the airfield to facilitate the building of the hangars, and they have to meet certain numbers in the area of COVID just so they can get those projects complete. So that's something we're always watching. But it's coming together, and so we expect to move out with starting construction on a second hangar probably late April, May. That'll be about the second hangar is going to take about 14 months to build.
Okay,
so,
wow.
It's pretty compressed, and so we're moving out on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting that there's a lot happening out here. Even with the challenges of the past year, y'all are still just kind of bulling through and making it work.
And there's a lot of other projects too. We're in the next probably 3 to 4 years, we're going to look at extending our main runway, our north-south runway. We're looking at lengthening that almost 1,000 feet.
Okay.
Currently, our runways run about 7,000 feet, and we do have the real estate to do it, and that will increase our capacity here at the airport. And so we got projects like that, taxiways, a lot of infrastructure projects around the airport. So we haven't slowed down any, not on that front anyway.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So kind of wrapping up, but any closing messages you have for our citizens or travelers?
No, we're gonna keep you safe. I look forward to everybody. I think people feel a little cooped up. I know I do, and I want to travel again. And
there's some good prices out there.
There's some great prices out there. There's some great markets, and I would suggest that people go online and buy some tickets, and we'll be here when you come through, and we'll keep you safe while you do it.
Great. Well, Matt Coughlin, really appreciate your time today, updating us on what's happening here at the airport, and we'll catch you all next time on the Toddcast.
Awesome. Thanks, Todd. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Toddcast. To learn more, check out the Greater Pensacola Chamber's Facebook page and follow us on Twitter at ToddcastPCola. That's Toddcast, letter P, colon. We hope you join us again next time on the Toddcast.